Ugh. This movie is kind of a huge mess. Now, I'm gonna try my best not to come at this as someone who's familiar with the source material, but the fact is that I first read the original novel, A Wrinkle in Time, almost 20 hours ago, and while I can say that the events of the book are played out on the screen accurately for the most part, this film adaptation completely lacks any of the charm or whimsy of its source material, and coupled with some very questionable filmmaking decisions, is ultimately a spectacular failure at virtually everything it sets out to accomplish. The first and biggest problem that I had with this movie is that the acting is awful, almost completely across the board. Chris Pine and Reese Witherspoon both overact their roles to the point of absurdity, while Mindy, Kaling, and Zach Galifianakis seem to be asleep at the wheel.
I'm not.
And the child actors... Look, I know it's not totally fair to criticize child actors. I'm sure these kids have been good in other things in the past and will be good in other things in the future, but good lord, were they ever not utilized very well in this movie. Honestly though, I think most of the blame for this falls to the script, which is incredibly cheesy in all the wrong ways and is practically impossible to be taken seriously. The youngest kid is especially grating, and while I will concede that the role he's being asked to play in this movie is essentially unfilmable as far as I'm concerned, he's supposed to be a super intelligent 5-year-old who talks like an adult, I think that the movie would have been better served if the filmmakers had simply aged up his character a few years, because every single line that he delivers in this film is absolutely cringeworthy to behold.
Let's go!
It's by no means his fault, of course. I want to make it 100% clear that I blame the filmmakers, not him, but it also doesn't excuse how difficult and awkward it is to watch the performance on screen, and how much that fact hinders the movie overall since he's playing such a pivotal character. The only two cast members who I felt were doing a fairly good job, all things considered, were Oprah Winfrey and Gugu Mbatha-Raw, who in the former's case has her decent performance offset by her comically absurd costuming and makeup, and in the latter's case is really only on screen for about 10 minutes to bookend the film. As I mentioned, the plot of this book is mostly preserved from page to screen, but the devil is very much in the details. The original story of A Wrinkle in Time is a high-concept science fantasy adventure for children that involves traveling through time and space to do battle with evil over the soul of the universe. It's more or less a sci-fi take on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right down to its strong Christian overtones, except that while the book makes sure to stop and explain the various scientific theories informing what's happening to the presumably young readers, the film sort of throws everything in the kitchen sink at the audience in the hopes that they'll just catch on, and while it did all make sense to me having read the book, the two people I was watching this movie with didn't really know what was supposed to be happening a lot of the time. With all of the exposition of the source material removed, transitions from scene to scene and even some scenes in their entirety completely lack any sort of context and often come off as total non-sequiturs. The film also adds in, for some reason, some completely original non-sequiturs that serve no purpose in the narrative except to be weird for weirdness' sake. But if the bad acting and the confusing screenplay weren't enough for you to be turned off from this movie, then the final nail in the coffin will surely be the poor direction. I was shocked, utterly shocked to learn that this movie, A Wrinkle in Time, was directed by Ava Duvernay, who previously helmed the critically acclaimed film Selma in 2014. This movie is stuffed full of some really questionable directorial decisions. There's an overabundance of uncomfortably extreme close-ups on characters' faces, and a lot of scenes have very little continuity from shot to shot, often choosing odd angles to shoot from. It's really quite baffling. The movie is also very CGI heavy, and while some of it looks really good, a lot of it really doesn't, and often serves to distract from what are meant to be character-driven moments. I really can't recommend not seeing A Wrinkle in Time enough. It's a poorly acted, cringe-inducing, confusing, boring movie that has next to no redeeming qualities to make it worth checking out. But hey, the kids who were sitting behind us in the theater seemed to like it, so what do I know? Thank you for watching ʻseSHən. If you enjoyed this review, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. Be sure to leave a comment letting me know what you thought of A Wrinkle in Time if you saw it. Also, check out here on the screen, we have some other things for your perusal. And until next time, take care.